Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday episode of Hog Talk Podcast, presented to you by Vision Exteriors, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us each week on 106.7 Buzz 2 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are presented to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I'm Port Hayes. Alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall. On tonight's show, we're going to talk Tyson Patches. We're going to talk statues, horns, hogs. Arkansas plays Stetson this weekend in baseball, and Arkansas softball opens up SEC play against Georgia. But we'll jump right into it. Adam, I know we could lead off with Arkansas's 105-85 win against Texas, but, I mean, the news of the day, when you think how good of a day yesterday was, the statue. Nolan Richardson is finally getting his statue. And before I get your reaction, I want to say this. I know that everybody's knee-jerk reaction is about time. To me, look, we're getting it while he's still able to see this. We're getting this while he's able to witness the unveiling. So I kind of don't want to have any negative part of it. I don't want to say about time. That's what everybody's saying, but at least they did it right. They kind of read the room of saying we need to do this while he is still here, because they're seeing how Coach Cal is embracing him and Nolan Richardson is embracing Cal. So before people just want to jump the gun and say, well, it's about time, kind of pump the brakes a little bit and let's focus on enjoying the fact that it's happening. He's getting his statue, and we're not having to do this after he has passed.
I think that was the initial reaction by everybody, and I get it, but at the same time, I'm kind of with you. Like, let's look at the positive side of this. Yep. He is getting it while he still is here to see it. Because too many times things like this happen after somebody has passed or whatever the case may be. But so I'm glad that they're doing this now. I listened to Juracek this morning on Chuck and Bo, and just to kind of hear his part of it. And I will say one part of it that did kind of like rub me the wrong way. And this isn't me trying to just always harp on Hunter Juracek, but a donor came forward to do this, to say, hey, I'm going to foot the bill for it. And that's from Hunter Juracek. And I just kind of look, and he agreed, like, the timing is right. Now is a great time to do it. We've been discussing this for the past 2 to 3 years. So he says, I guess I just kind of look at it like, why did a donor have to step forward to pay for it when we're seeing these surpluses every year?
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like y'all had the money to do this, and it took a donor stepping up to get it done. So that was really my only knock on the conversation this morning. Was I feel like Arkansas should have done this before because they have the funds to do so. But even listening, different radio shows the last couple of days, the reaction to the halftime, it was something that kind of sunk in. It's like, I know that Coach Richardson is 84, but to hear some of them talk about his caretaker getting him up to the game, and they were able to work this out. And it kind of just hits you in the feels a little bit of realizing, it kind of lets it set in of how old he. I mean, essentially how old he is. He's 84 years old, but hearing like, oh, his caretaker this and that, and how good he is to him, and I'm just kind of like, oh, it just kind of gives you a little gut punch to realize the reality of where we are.
Well, and then seeing the caretaker, seeing them walk him on the court. I mean, you look at the 40 minutes of hell stuff and how, vocal he was, and how, he's still got his charisma, he's charismatic, but seeing that, that's what hits you. You're like, oh, these people you look up to. And that's where the older that we realize how old we're getting. Because these people that we seen in their 30s and 40s and 50s, now they're in their 80s, and it's hard to see them old, whether it's a movie or music or whatever. And that was the hardest part to see. And another thing is, Lou Holtz is 89, and he just passed away. So he's not too far behind him in age. And the fact that they're doing this, yes, it does feel a little slighted, because why wasn't that a part of the original announcement? Because I don't know if you've heard about it or how many other people knew about it. I'm sure on the inside circle knew, but I'm talking about media on the outside knew that a donor had stepped forward. Because to me, hearing it, watching it, and seeing it, it's almost like, was he taking credit for it? I mean, again, I hate to be that way about it. And here I am kind of, but it kind of catches you off guard when you hear, oh, well, a donor stepped forward. But then again, I'm sure that statue is not going to be cheap. And I'm sure that, yes, there's surplus and this and that, but it's happening. So yeah, you could feel a little slighted. And I'll say this, at least he was honest about it. He could have sat there and held that in, and then when they unveiled it or officially had it standing, and then had the donor there. So, I mean, there was things, and then we can, the Tyson, the patches on all the uniforms and stuff. And it's one of them that I hope they don't piss it down their leg, because how many times have we heard, oh, we're the first to do this. We're the first of its kind to have a collective, or the raffle, or now we're having patches on our uniforms. And I know the outside looking in, national, they're like, oh my God, that's where we got to go with it. I mean, I don't care. I don't care one bit about Tyson. I don't care how ugly they look. I think it's really because Tyson does represent Arkansas. You're not selling out to this other corporation, like say a DraftKings or a FanDuel or a big corporation entity. You're sticking with something that does mean something for the state of Arkansas.
And listening to, because they also touched on the Tyson deal and the patches, and that it's been running rampant the past couple of days on the different radio shows and social media on what this means, and we don't know a dollar figure. And from what it sounds like, listening to Hunter Yurachek and the press releases that have been put out, we're not gonna know. And I get some of it, because this is only the second NCAA team to announce jersey patches, us and LSU. So they're looking at it like, well, we don't want to release the blueprint, not to be mixed up with Blueprint Sports.
Yeah.
But they don't want to release supposedly don't want to release the blueprint so that other teams can see what they're doing. And I get that, but I also feel like that's a cop out to an extent. But they're claiming that players will get 90% of the revenue generated, which obviously that's going to be divvied out differently depending on the percentages in the sport. But it's one of those that this could very well be very lucrative, but you got to look at it and ask the questions on, okay, does this bring us up to par with other teams? Does this put us ahead? I don't feel like it does, because we were already behind. And if this brings you to par, all that does is still keep you behind, because those teams that were already on par are just going to advance what they've already done. So it's kind of a wait and see, and it sucks to have to wait and see. But at the same time, this is something that, hey, it's here, it's done. We don't have to worry about if, when. We know it's going to be happening. So at this point, it's just roll with it, and is what it is.
But the thing is, also, it frees up some money
Mhm.
that we were talking about. If you could find say Tyson, hey, we're going to do jersey patches on all 19 programs, and 90% of our NIL money is going to go to the women's programs or whatever programs.
Yeah.
Guess what? Now that's less of that 28.5 million that you have to divvy out. You can justify, man, we can give more now we could give all of our 20.5 to the football team or a little bit to the basketball team, because you're seeing what Tyson's pretty much doing with the men's basketball program and now this. And you got to think, if you're taking, say, if it's $5-10 million a year, what that can do for a lot more of your women's programs. You can provide more in that asset of opposed to you got your revenue share and other things coming into your football. I mean, it goes a long ways if it's done right. But then again, I know how it's going to go. It's going to go all to football. It's a pipe dream to sit here and think that the women's programs are really, truly going to fully be taken care of. And I wish it would be the case, but that it's until somebody is the Tyson, you have the Everetts trying to do, Ever dealerships trying to do the see her greatness and give to all the women's programs and stuff. It's going to take something like that, someone stepping up and being like, look, we're giving $5 to $10 million and it's going specifically to the women's programs for that to happen. But it would be nice to see that, okay, we've got all these things taken care of. Now we can start giving to other programs.
Mm-hmm. And they're starting to slowly, button up some of the questions that have been surrounding the athletic department. Obviously, we're hearing that they're close to the stadium naming rights deal. Don't know the timeline of when, but Learfield supposedly has somebody on radar for that. So you knock that out. You've got your jersey patches taken care of. Really, in the grand scheme of things, I feel like you get this. I know what they say the first day of the SEC tournament. We'll kind of hear the plan and the crew and everything for Link U and the NIL stuff. If all this is finally coming to fruition, then I'm all for all this happening, and it's about time for a lot of it.
Yeah, and that's where you have the naming rights, you have the patches, you have all this stuff. It would be a tough pill to swallow, but would we have to? And I'll go me more than Ben. I won't speak for both of us because I've been way more vocal about it than you. But would I have to issue apology to Hunter Yurchek? Would we have to acknowledge, okay, he sat here and take a lot of heat from a lot of people, and there's a lot of people, me included, saying he's not doing his job, and then you pull out. It's hard not to recognize the what the patches is doing. And yes, let's just we can throw it in there, even though it's a donor. The statue, the patches, naming rights, finally, and kind of take a step back and realize maybe all this stuff is overwhelming for an athletic director, because the constant changing of college athletics and NIL and transfer portal. And what we're seeing is other teams getting better. Arkansas is sitting here where they're at. But when you take a step back, kind of got to recognize maybe it takes a little bit more time. And if it is happening, if all those things do come to fruition, I think I would owe him an apology for how hard I've been on him for not doing his job per se.
I think so much, maybe a 50-50. Like, hey, yeah, I get that I was, or we were, because hell, putting up a 100-year check clown t-shirt. Yeah. But it's things that I get that it's a lot. And one reason that I don't want to just pump the brakes and admit, hey, we're wrong, etc., is other schools are still doing it in a timely manner. Now, if all this does come to fruition, everything pans out, great, awesome. I just still have questions. I'm like, hey, there's still been contracts that in question. That are supposedly out there, not out there. The idea of kickbacks, things of that nature. So I'm not saying he completely off the hook, but a lot of these things that we have had issues with would be cleared up a bit. But hey, guess what? You still are, well, you're not really gung ho anymore, but this was your baby for a little while.
Yeah.
We still have the likes of this out there. There's still things that still are going to rub me the wrong way.
Yeah. And totally understandable. It's just when you look at it, and if it does happen under his watch, I mean, it's not saying we're giving him full credit, but we do have to acknowledge that things are getting done. But then again, that can mean be getting ahead of myself, and that could be wishful thinking, getting yanked back into that Charlie Brown situation where I feel like this time I'm going to get to kick the football, and then whoop, nothing happens.
Mhm.
So, and then the naming rights, we'll see. I mean, we don't know who is going to be on it. I mean, it was reported by All Hogs, the other Sports Illustrated, that naming rights were supposed to have been done 2024. Somebody reported that and then never happened. So I don't know what happened. Maybe that scared someone off. I don't know, but they were saying it was, here we are 2026, 2 years later, and it might be 2027. We don't know, but that should be a big one, and we're thinking 5 to 10 million there. So between the patches and the naming rights, there's 20 million probably, upwards to top tier 20 million a year.
Which I've still had questions too, and it's stuff that I haven't dove right into, like when it comes to the revenue sharing and such. Is it always going to be this even amount, like across the board, all schools? Obviously, it's going to escalate over the years, but so the deal with Tyson and Jersey Patches and the naming rights and things of that nature. Say you bring in $100 million from the Tyson deal, from the Jersey Patches. I mean, does that add to your overall rev share, or is that put into a different, like, how does all that pan out?
I think it's honestly separate. I think your rev share is the only thing that you have to distribute how, and you have to, formulate how you distribute it. Everything else is fair game, in my understanding. So, but then again, it's what if they do get some of the stuff and they want to put it towards the Razorback Foundation, like you're talking about the raffle. I mean, the thing is, I'm not too worried about the fact, and I'm kind of, to be petty in a way, I'm glad it's not doing well, because the half of that money goes to the foundation. It don't go to NIL. I'd be a little bit more bitter and a little bit more upset if it did go to players, if it did go to NIL fund, but it goes to the foundation. So it's like, I don't care. A fan's making $4,000 or $5,000 after a game, and the people who are greedy and didn't want it to go another route, that we know Bet Saracen and Carlton Savage could have done a better job and been less costly, because how much are they paying to run this? Are they breaking even? Or are they losing money on this raffle? So between, what they're paying for the raffle and Link U, and are they still need kind of the contracts with Blueprint? How much do they lose with that? Your players that took NIL deals and went to other schools, you're losing out on that. Remy Cofield, you're losing out on that. What are they doing? So there's a lot of stuff that I'm still like, okay, hey, good job. We accept that. We apologize on how hard we were, but there's still work to be done. You're not fully in good graces with us, because there's still a lot that needs to happen.
You'll be in my good graces when the shirt comes down. Well, if I'm the one that removes the shirt, if they remove it, then we'll have more pettiness on our hands. But no, it's, yesterday was an overall good day. I mean, you had the Tyson news, the Nolan Richardson news, 20-point win over Texas, which was just a great game overall. Outside of the Lou Holtz passing, I mean, it was a good day. Obviously, it was sad to hear about Lou Holtz, even though we all knew it was on the horizon, unfortunately. But, it's when times like this happen, especially in the sports world, it's nice to hear like everybody's stories and POVs of these coaches and, stories from 20, 30, 40 years ago. And I mean, quite frankly, I mean, Lou Holtz laid the blueprint for a lot of coaches with the way he did things. Obviously got him a national title at Notre Dame. So it sucks, but it's part of life.
Yeah. And my favorite was the college football final, where him and Mark May did the judge and the jury or whatever. They were lawyers at the end of it. I can't remember the exact name of it, but that was things that where you really truly stayed up. You watched Pac-12 at dark because you knew afterwards it was going to be that. You got to see that on Saturday. And for those, we didn't have recordings. We didn't have where we could watch it on social media. You had to watch it then or record it on a VHS tape to be able to watch it. So you just remember all those times with him being on college football final, of course, with, being at Arkansas and then his time at South Carolina, national championship at Notre Dame. It's one of those deals that when we talk again about getting older, we keep on having to deal with losing yet another legend.
So we will see what the future holds. But no, last night, all in all, I mean, just if we're going to get into some of the game talk, this was the game. I mean, obviously Darius Acuff having 28, but Trevor Brazile, I mean, career high in your final game in Fayetteville, 28 points, 3 for 5 from 3, 9 for 11 from the field, 7 for 8 from free throw, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 3. I mean, it was the Brazile and Acuff show last night. It was a rough game for Billy Richmond. He's human, after 5 straight games, 20 plus points, only came up with 8, but he still had the energy that he has had game in and game out. And that's what you're going to get. I mean, he played the most minutes for Arkansas, 37 minutes. So I'm anxious and curious to see what route Arkansas goes with Mizzou and then the SEC tournament, as in, are you going to rest Acuff Saturday against Mizzou? It's one of those with Arkansas, you're going to be a 2 or a 3 seed. You're not going to be any lower. I mean, that's where you're going to be. So you've got the double bye. You're going to play Friday. Or do you just play them a little bit? Because you don't want Acuff or any of these other players, especially with the limited roster, to get any rust between now and March Madness. So we'll see what happens. But no, last night was not only, a great SEC win. You win by 20, but also for the fact that you put it on Texas. Just made it that much better.
Yeah, and to the fact of Darius Acuff, I mean, I'll tell you what, if DJ Wagner keeps on playing the way he is, I'd say absolutely. You play him a little bit and then you stick DJ. And are we starting to see the emergence of DJ? Is he finally starting to come out of his shell this season and finally get his groove, get his rhythm? And I mean, Pringle, 8 points, 4 rebounds, but you're talking about Billy Richmond, 8 points, but he had 9 rebounds. He was still productive, and you're going to have, it's almost like if you have an off night, that's okay, because you still had 9 rebounds. You still are plus 14 in the box score. Trevor Brazile, again, when you have these guys that are just showing out 56 points between the two, you can adapt to that if Billy does have an off night, but you need somebody like DJ Wagner giving you that 15. That is the key to them winning. And how far this gets them, I know we're going to have this conversation more on Monday when we come into talking about the SEC tournament and post play. But this right here, what last night happened, and I'm not saying, you're going against an 18-12, 9-8 Texas team, but having DJ Wagner come in and score 15 on top of, you're going to get 10 to 15 out of Malik. Darius going to give you 20 to 25. Brazil needs to give you 20 to 25. But the key is if he gives you 28, then Brazil needs to be the one that gives you 15. That's the key to them going far in this tournament because you know they're going to give up inside points. You're going to have to outscore people, and that's where this rest coming up is going to be very crucial. And to be honest, if you know you're locking in that third seed, whether a win or lose this weekend, how much these players do you how much do you play them?
That's a good question.
You know what I'm saying? I said it on Monday. You're playing for a postseason now. Yes, you have one more regular season game, but the end goal is a national championship, and you're playing for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you definitely are. And I look at it like, so you say if you win Friday, I mean, you're looking at playing out. I mean, you're going to play Alabama one way or another in the semifinals if you win. So are you going to have, I feel like you've got to figure out, hey, are we going to have revenge on our mind, or are we going to play it safe because we have the NCAA tournament? I really think, because by everything that we've seen that's been put out there, I mean, Arkansas is kind of locked in at that 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. But I mean, if you win the SEC tournament, you bump to a 4 seed. Do you have to sit there and think, is that worth the risk? 5 versus 4 seed. So there's a lot of questions. Obviously, Coach Cal's been doing this a hell of a lot longer than us. I'm just curious. The thought going into the SEC tournament is: do you have revenge on your mind, or do you just keep it, just kind of ho hum just to prepare yourself for the NCAA?
So if it goes the way it is right now, Arkansas is 3 seed. You would play. I mean, you got Auburn, Ole Miss, Vandy. The winner of that come and you play Arkansas. So you probably play Vandy. Maybe if there's an upset, Auburn or Ole Miss. I honestly, I'm sorry. If you want to win just for bragging rights or to say you got revenge, okay, you got that game on Saturday. But you have to look at where are they going to put you. Is this going to be a Thursday or Friday game? I mean, we talked about this last season, is the fact that you get into this pickle of, it'd be nice to go play all the way through Saturday and give it all you got, and then you're going to be playing for the championship on Sunday. Do you really want to get into another double overtime war? Do you want to get into another battle knowing how ACUF is? Do you want to risk that injury on Saturday, knowing there's a chance if you're a 4 seed or a 5 seed, you're playing on Thursday? I don't know. I mean, that's where I know Cal's probably got this down to a science, but that's where my caution would be is then you only have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You got 3 days of rest, travel on Wednesday probably, or travel on Tuesday. So that's where it gets to the point of, I know you want to win all your games, but making it to the finals on Sunday is not worth it. The fact, again, is it's not going to change your seeding. I don't think that anything Arkansas can do in the SEC tournament is going to improve their seeding in the national tournament. So therefore, going to win it. Now, if there was a chance where I thought beating Florida or winning the SEC tournament would get you a 3 seed, maybe. But I'm telling you right now, the difference between a 4 seed and a 3 seed is not really that much different when you talk about who you would be playing and then who you'd be matched up with in the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that. I'm kind of with I feel like rest at this point, but not too much rest to where you're rusty is more important than exhausting yourself to win the SEC tournament. It truly doesn't matter these days.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. Hear a word from our sponsors, Vision Exteriors. When we come back, we'll deep dive more into this postseason basketball talk, and then we'll end the show with talk about the baseball action coming up this weekend against Stetson, and Arkansas softball will open up their SEC play against Georgia, and we'll be right back after a quick break. Looking to enhance your home's curb appeal? Look no further than Vision Exteriors. As your trusted roofing, siding, and exterior experts, we're here to transform your property. Our skilled team ensures your job is not only functional but also aesthetically pleasing. Along with roofing, we also offer window, gutter, and siding installation to boost your home's appearance with our quality options. Visit us at www.visionexteriors.com or call us at 479-397-4770. Let's make your vision a reality.
60 for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes. And we're gotcha.
Got me.
Welcome back to the Hog Talk podcast. I really want to stick with the basketball conversation because, you know, we're riding a heater right now, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Riding a heater of you're at the table, you got the Tyson Patches, you've got naming rights probably coming soon, you've got all this stuff going on. How crazy would it be to build off that momentum and Arkansas wins a national championship in basketball? You're talking about, by God, I'm telling you, Arkansas wins a national championship. You got the new logo. I know we're not allowed to put it on the shirt, but we might. You never know. It might be worth buying 2 of them, and then we get it struck down. So hey, we'll see.
Also, let's just let it be known that this idea was put out before others.
Yes, yeah, that is true.
Not to be petty.
No, not petty. Fair game.
But yeah, no, it's crazy time. I mean, we knew and we hoped that, this is the type of discussions that we would be having with Coach Calipari, and sure enough, here we are. And I know it's easy to dissect every little thing that this team does or doesn't do. The expectations are obviously going to be high, just like they were at his previous stop. But I'm here for it. And at the same time, it's like we get frustrated. Everybody gets frustrated. Coach Cal gets frustrated. The team gets frustrated. But that's because, the expectations are so high with Hall of Fame coach. So, I kind of look at it I'm still going to say this until it happens, for future teams, future rosters, you still need to go get your big. But for the here and the now, you've got to have Darius Acuff continue putting his name in the hat to be. I'm still going to call for it, and I think more and more media outlets are calling for it. How is he not in the National Player of the Year discussion? Sean Miller had high praise for Darius Acuff last night after the game. That he quite frankly, he said he was the best point guard that he has seen on the court that he has been on in 34 years. And so, this is a guy that has seen every which kind of player, whether it was during his playing time or even as a coach. We all know that, Darius Acuff is a generational player. And it sucks that we only get him for a year. It would be awesome to be able to see year 2, year 3. But he's going to need help to go with it. I think on the bigger stage, I think we're going to see a lot more with DJ Wagner. I think we're finally seeing that silver lining, and maybe it's been some frustration on his part, accepting the lesser role. And at the same time, too, Billy Richmond, I truly hope, go back to this comment from Transplanted Texan, they were using Billy Richmond as representing the men's basketball with the jersey patch. I hope that's a sign of, year 3 for Billy Richmond incoming. Because like we talked about previously, I would love to see an entire year of this Billy Richmond that we've gotten past 5 games, 6 games, if you want to count. Because he still came with it last night, even only scoring 8. So I want to see Malik Thomas on the big stage. What does he have in him? Because he has, I'm not going to say fallen off because I hate sounding like that, but he's taken a bit of a step back in this run that Acuff has had, and Billy Richmond stepping up. So I just want to see these guys on the big stage with the bright lights. What are they going to do? Because there's a handful of them we're not going to see in Razorback uniforms again.
What if Malik Thomas comes back next year? Because really we can go off season with this or not, but when you really look at this loaded, I mean, people are talking about this freshman class being just as talented as and deep as the 2003 draft class. I mean, it's being compared to that. So when you have a guy like Cal that really could be like, hey, man, look, we got Tyson money. You know, you give me another year, I'm going to get you the money that Acuff got this year, or however may it be. He might need that extra year, but you think about what Arkansas could be with, you know, JJ Andrews coming in. I forget the other kid that they got.
Torrey.
Torrey.
And then Smith Jr., another Smith Jr.
So then you couple that with Malik Thomas, and you bring back Billy Richmond. Seeley's going to be a sophomore. DJ Wagner will be a senior. I mean, you're set up for a really good squad. And if JJ Andrews or Torrey comes in and kind of replicates, in a sense, I know it's going to be hard, but kind of replicates what you get with Darius Acuff Jr., you're going to be good. Then guess what? You can go take some of this money that's left over and you can go get a true big. Go get a true big vet. I think somebody needs to be doing that now. Vet a true big or two that's going to come in here and give you, be like a Boozer or be like a Boogie Cousins. You get somebody like that, you know they're a national championship contender right off the jump.
And I still, you know, we've heard for a long time that Kenny Payne was like the big man whisperer. I hadn't seen it here at Arkansas. So I'm still in the boat of, hey, go down to San Antonio and bring Corliss Williamson home to be an assistant coach. But yeah, you've got to find
Tyson on some of these recruiting trips with you.
I mean, you might as well at this point.
I mean,
but no, you know, the next year's roster, I hope that we see, you know, I know we've got these bigs that have been on the bench. I know Samito's been injured and not gotten to play, but it's like I want to see Paulo Samito next season. If we're going to see Elmer, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, if he's going to come back, you know, these 7-footers that we brought in, I want to see that they weren't just a waste. I want to see that you can do more than just bring in the best guards in the country. And so if you're going to go get your bigs out of the portal, great. But if that's the case, then, and I get it, you've got to have a full roster, you've got to have practice guys. I just don't understand. Like, we lead off one off season with, hey, we've got to go get bigs. Hey, we've got to this. Hey, we've got to that. Hey, we're going to, you know, I can't go, we can't run 7-8 guys like we did this year. You know, that's what we heard last season.
Yeah.
It was like, we can't have, I can't do 7-8 guys, but then here we are again. That's what you're running with. And that's what you said you were going to run with. So in that aspect, I would just like to see, hey, like some of these guys that we're bringing in to be practice players or to be on the bench, let's get one or two that can actually contribute if they need to, because when you're running these 7-8 guys, like we've seen happen, you foul out 3 of them or 4 of them, or somebody gets injured, like a Carter Knox. You've got to have somebody on standby.
Yep.
And I think that's been a big issue. So I would like to see that addressed, but
I think it was a gamble. I think you look at Pringle and Ewan, and I think Cal really put a lot more into Pringle than, and I think if you redshirt somebody, you can't get it back, you know? So like, if you're saying, all right, with Samito and Elmer, all right, we're going to pretty much roll with our 2 bigs because we know we're guard heavy team. So now next year you're like, okay, we got Samito and Elmer. You got your 2 7-footers. Let's put some more weight on. Well, Samito's 225, Elmer's 285. So put about another 10, 15 pounds on Paulo. You know, get him big, get bigger. And now, you know, if you have DJ come back, you have Richmond, you have Malik Thomas come back, and then you throw it in there with the Torrey and JJ Andrews, you know that you have a solid squad. I just think that too much of it was a gamble, and it just didn't work out in Cal's favor with Pringle, and sometimes even Ewan. I mean, we're talking about Ewan, but we're comparing him to what Pringle did. Both of them, in some sense, have kind of underwhelmed.
100%.
That's where we got to get next year. And if we have that, you're going to have people talking about Arkansas. And I think, going back to Darius Acuff and the national attention is the fact that they do play for Arkansas. Arkansas is up and rising, but Cal gets more of that national attention than Arkansas does. When you hear Arkansas, you think Cal now. Now with what Acuff has done, in the past, you've had people that have been mediocre, really good in college, and then performed more in the NBA. Now you're having somebody who's a superstar in college. Now let's carry that over. Let's see what Arkansas can do and get more national attention, because it's always going to be Duke. It's always going to be Kansas. It's always going to be Kentucky. Cal's right there on the fringe, but it's Cal. We needed Acuff to do his thing this year, because now more of that focus is going to pivot on, well, we know we have Cal. Look what he did with Acuff. Now they're going to put more emphasis on whoever the next Acuff is, or whoever the next Malik Thomas is. And maybe with Malik Thomas coming back next year for a second year, you've already got that base. You get him that popularity where he could be that guy. You're going to start getting more attention on the players and not just Cal.
Mm-hmm. Well, and, Cal brought up, and we posted it too, that, Arkansas is in the top 4 of most watched teams in the country. And, obviously that is a Cal effect, but at the same time, it's also the product that he's putting on the court. And that's why it's just crazy that it's taken this long for Darius Acuff to start grabbing the attention, because here we are, the 4th most viewed basketball team in the country. So you would think that he would have gotten more attention sooner. But at the same time, you know what? I think it's kind of aided him in a sense of playing with a chip on his shoulder a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that we're going to see some great things from, and knock on wood, not trying to put it out there on him or whatever, but I think we're going to see some great things in the NCAA tournament from Darius Acuff, just because he is going to be on the big stage. It is going to be his final go in college. So I think he wants to leave out on a high note, and I think we're going to see some amazing, I'm not going to say a 49-point performance like we saw at Alabama, but I think Darius Acuff is going to have himself a good NCAA tournament.
And he's primed. I think with proper rest, he looked very good last night. I mean, he's smiling, and I think that a lot of that too is he needed a night where he can have fun, he can relax, because look, something we don't even talk about. You talk about the pressure. You talk about him on the outside. He looks so cool, calm, and collected. But what's going on the inside? How much pressure is on him? What is he? How tense is he? And what kind of toll does that physically and emotionally put on your body of feeling like you have to give this team 30 points a night or 25 points a night? He got to go out there and just relax and have fun. And now you go into this game on Saturday. Maybe put him out there for a half. Let him have some fun. Let him get, keep it going, keep the wheels lubricated enough and get ready for postseason play. But seeing him out there smile and have a good time and throwing lobs and getting out there and scoring, putting up big numbers, and that had to help too. That's the last time that people are going to see this kid in Bud Walton Arena. Going out there and having that type of performance, he gave the fans what they deserved and the performance he deserved. Now it's time to shine.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to, before we switch to baseball, shout out to Amir Brown, named to the SEC Community Service team. I was looking after I'd seen that because it reminded me, because I saw it this morning when they announced it. But yeah, like, just going on, we see these players on the bench, and there's at times we're wondering, like, what are these guys doing? But with Amir Brown, participated in Coach Cal's women's basketball camp. Coach Cal's Be a Razorback for a Day. Was active at this Suits and Sneakers Gala, which raised money for the Arkansas Cancer Society over Christmas break. Returned to his hometown of Pittsburgh for his Always Believe basketball camp, which him and Malik Thomas do. Came back to Fayetteville during the break. He contributed not only his time but money. leading in Christmas carols. I mean, he just doing all the things that these players. Oh, it's not even showing. That was the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I was rolling
You were
with you,
just letting
man.
me go, huh?
I
Here
didn't
we
know.
go.
I didn't know.
I mean,
roll with
more
it.
plugs for the potential shirt future, but no, he's doing great things, and it's good to see that these players aren't here just to collect paychecks.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
shout out to him and everything that he's
And
done.
him
while
and Billy
being
Richmond
available.
are really good friends too. I mean,
Mhm.
that's the thing. You talk about people coming back next year. I know the term glue guy gets thrown around a lot, but Amiri Brown, just a freshman, he could be that talking piece to, dude, Malik, come back another year.
Mhm.
You had an amazing year. Look at the draft. Look how much talent's there. You come in and you're going to be guaranteed a first round draft pick. Just something along the lines of that. And it's not, and that's where I think also gets lost, or people automatically will think, or he might put in his head, well, they don't think I'm good enough. It's just the fact that look at the realistic part of how many freshmen are really truly putting up 28, 25, 28 points a game. And then you have to throw overseas players in that mix and what the lottery pick's going to be. If you know you're going to get paid for staying in Arkansas, the money's there. You get whatever you want coming back.
Mhm.
And you're going to up your draft stock and potentially be a lock for a lottery pick next year. I mean, are you going to develop more on the bench or in the G League, or are you going to develop more in Cal's system? And I
Mhm.
think that's what's really going to be that kind of leaning towards he comes back next year. But it does not downplay who Malik Thomas is. It doesn't downplay his game. I just think if he comes back next year, he can make his draft stock better to where he is a lock for a lottery.
Well, and I think that's something that players really need to think about and dive into, because with the world of NIL and how money is now, if you're not a lottery pick in the NBA draft, I personally, unless you're just out of eligibility or you just truly don't want to play college basketball anymore, I just don't see the benefit of going into the NBA draft if you're not going to be a lottery pick with the money
Yeah.
to be made in
Mhm.
college sports.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, you probably make more
Mhm.
unless you are a lottery pick. And also you're not going to be the only one. I'm coming back. My guy Billy is going to be there. My guy Amir is going to be there. We got some killer guards coming in that the fact that, and this is not a stray or a shot at DJ Wagner, but you're not going to digress because who's coming in. You have a 3 rotation at the guard spot with Malik. You're not going to have somebody like Darius Acuff next year running 34, 37 minutes and getting tired 2 weeks left of the season. You could come out and get your 18 to 20 points a game and then have 2 guys that can produce and save your legs and have a better shot at a deep tournament run, because we'll bring this up when we talk about postseason. That's my biggest fear with this team. Number 2 is the fact that other than inside presence is how much legs does Darius Acuff Jr. have left? You're running into a situation to where you come back and you're guard heavy. You've got a good 3-4 rotation at the guard spot on top of the 2 7-footers that come back. And then whatever you throw in the mix between Billy Richmond and whatever guy you get out of the portal, you're a top 10 team or top 5 team right off the jump.
Mhm.
And you have depth and true. You're not looking at one guy going off, say like a Brazil going for 8 points and then 28. Then he comes in and gives you 4. You have a lot of guys that can probably come in and give you 10, 15 points a game. You'd be like Florida, a lot of depth, and look what they're doing, having 5, 6 guys all scoring double digits.
I think it'll definitely be an interesting transfer portal season.
Yeah. And you know what the thing is too with that? You are solidifying what you have, and you're not having to pray or gamble on that portal spot. That portal's not always going to be there. It's not going to give you what you need. And I think a lot of it is we're talking about, where college athletics is going to be. And I'm sure we'll get more into this in the off season in the summer, but I've said for years, I think this is going to be like the Oklahoma land rush. A lot of these players are going to get all this money and it's going to be great for a good 5 years. And then when people start realizing that the ROI and the money it's just not worth that anymore, you're going to start seeing that money dip. You're going to see where it's going to peak and then it's going to start falling. So take advantage of it while you can, because in 5-6 years, the money might be half of what it is now. You never know.
Oh, well, if they ever get there will be a lot of rule changes if they ever get down to collective bargaining agreements and actual contracts to be signed. So we'll see what happens on that.
We'll finish up the show. Baseball. Look, Friday. Now, this is going to do a lot with the weather. I know we have storms coming in tomorrow evening, overnight, into Friday. So, but maybe they have a 1:00 game. So hopefully the weather does not affect this that much. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday with Stetson. Friday's game is radio only. And then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the games will be on the SEC Network. Plus, the first 1,000 fans on Saturday, a mystery player sign. Sunday, childhood cancer awareness game. So a lot of things going on, 4 games. And then on the softball side, they are welcoming in number 12, Georgia, 18-5 overall. I was looking at some of their scores. They've lost Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech. They lost a series to Virginia Tech, or not a series. They lost the Georgia Classic to Virginia Tech twice. Coming into Fayetteville, Friday, they play at 3, Saturday, 6 p.m., Sunday, 2 p.m. All 3 games will be streaming on the SEC Plus Network Plus. So a lot of Razorback sports coming in. Let's ride this high. Things are really good. I got a good vibe of, especially what happened yesterday. I think if Arkansas can capitalize on this and really dig into the fact that things are going to happen, and we're not just talking about naming rights and all this stuff. We're not going to just say maybe we can compete. Money's starting to come. Naming rights are starting to come. We're seeing jersey patches. So they just need to keep on riding this momentum.
Yeah, you definitely need to keep it rolling and not just become complacent and settle. And at the same time, too, not just rely on third-party companies to bail you out.
Yep.
So I think it's going to take a full-on team support and everything, and just finally start. We hear the phrase "one Razorback" all the time.
Yep.
It's about time we start acting like it from top to bottom.
And hopefully, the baseball team doesn't get a scare. I think they spooked us. They spooked everybody last week, but they've won 3 in a row. A combined score of let's go 20, 30, 30 and 2. So 30 to outscore the last 3 games, 30-2. So hopefully we're starting to see that. Okay, Dave Van Horn yanked him around a little bit and was like, okay, that's enough of the nonsense. We're Arkansas, cut it out. But we're also seeing where LSU's getting beat by Louisiana.
Yeah.
So, knee-jerk reaction on us. I know we put it out there, but when you're a number 5, number 4 team in the country, that's what happens. That what comes with it. So
yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm ready. Honestly, let's get through it because I'm ready for SEC play.
Yeah. And your Razorback softball team, 19-1 on the year, won 17 in a row. So let's hopefully they keep the ball rolling on that. Have a great opening SEC series. I know the weather is going to be kind of crappy tomorrow, but Saturday and Sunday should be some beautiful weather at Bogle Park and Baum Walker. So everybody come out. And Adam, you anything else?
I'm good.
All right. Well, that will do it for this episode of the Hog Talk Podcast, presented to you by Vision Exteriors. And don't forget also, go to Bet Saracen, download the app. If you download it today, sign up, HOG250 promo code, $25 gets you $250 in free bets. Terms do apply. But man, $25, you get $250 in free bets. Bet Saracen, Arkansas company. So go out and give them a shout out. And don't forget to use that promo code HOG250. But for Adam Hall, I'm Porter Hayes. That will do it for this episode, and we will catch you on Monday. Hog HQ Live Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Hog HQ Live Sunday, 8:05. We'll be back on Monday. We'll catch you then.